You find yourself on the ropes, or worse, in a corner, with an aggressive opponent in front of you and no more ground to yield. Let's talk about your best strategy and tactics to put some ground at your back so you can have success when you fight. The first thing to remember when you find yourself on the ropes or in the corner is to keep calm. Don't panic, don't lose sight of your opponent, don't get out of position, don't overmove and run into a punch. Keep calm. Boxing is very defensively weighted, which means that you're not at a huge disadvantage here. Because of the way that lanes and levels play out in the system, you just guessing defensively has a 2/3 chance of keeping you safe. So let that bolster your confidence. It's better to be in a defensive position, in a position to need to be defensive, than rush to any one exit. One of my old coaches, George Lewis, up out of Champs East Side in Ontario, Canada, used to say, when you hit the ropes, you only ever get one butt cheek on the ropes. And this sounds super silly, but what this means is when your back leg hits the ropes, that's as far back as you're allowing yourself to go. You're staying in a nice strong stance that you can fight out of and you can defend out of. Because if you break posture and lean back and square up on the ropes or stand up tall, you're not as mobile, you're not as defensively sound, and you can't generate offense as well. When we're cornered, we have 3 broad strategic approaches to how we're getting off the ropes. One of them is sporty, one of them is aggressive, and one of them is technical. Our first approach is what I call the sporty approach, and this is leaning into the rule sets of boxing as a sport, as a game, to help keep you safe. So you see a lot of fighters tie up their opponent and then they wait for the ref to come and save them. This is fine. I would never fault a fighter for trying to keep themselves safe, okay? You lean into these rule sets to not get a concussion. I don't want anybody getting hurt. But you must remember that if we're thinking about boxing as a martial art, God forbid you ever have to use this in a self-defense situation or in a Thai fight or in an MMA fight where the ref's not gonna be there to separate you. You need to find a way to solve this problem without depending on the rule set to keep you safe. To clarify, the ref's presence here and his intervention is the thing that makes this sporty. Learning how to tie somebody up, turn them, break, and hit, that's good boxing. Our second approach to getting off of the ropes is to lean into the aggression. This is almost the exact opposite of the sporty approach, where you're depending on your savagery and your power and your strength and your speed and your durability to get you out of a bad situation. You're gonna get diminishing returns with this approach as you fight more talented athletes who know how to shut these tactics down. But especially at the amateur level, being aggressive pays off. I've seen lots of very talented amateur fighters lose to worse technical boxers who were more aggressive and who were more powerful than them. I always tell my athletes to remember that a boxing match is half sport and half fight. You see this aggression used to get fighters off the ropes in 3 different ways. You can see them throw a scary, hard combination and hope that it spooks their opponent and gives them some breathing room to walk off the ropes. You may see them physically march forward with powerful punches and force their opponent back on the line, or you can see a more tactful approach a la Triple G or Julio Cesar Chavez, where they get their head offline and level and they remain defensively sound as they pressure forward and counter their opponent on the move. Our final strategy here isn't to lean into the sportiness of this or to lean into the savagery of this, it's to box, to use your understanding of the system of boxing, of the sweet science to control the situation and get the outcome you want. Knowing a little bit of lane theory, understanding a little bit of pattern recognition with your opponent can allow you to think about punches as opportunities to counter or to better your position and less as scary attacks to be feared or shied away from. If this video has helped you and you've learned something, make sure to drop a like. Imagine your opponent's arms as guns that have to be reloaded in between shots. When they pull the trigger on one of those shots, you have a brief moment to move through that side while they reload that hip and reload that shoulder and leg to be able to hit you again. The scariest punches are frequently the biggest opportunities for you to better your position, to exit off the ropes, or to counter. And you want to remember to train yourself to move through these shots, because that's going to get you elbow side, that's going to give you the most control, and that's going to create the biggest breakaway moments that make you the boss of the fight. When you're on the ropes and defending, looking for opportunities to better your position, you can sit there and react, or you can try to bait the lead. Baiting the lead means crafting a specific situation where your opponent is likely to throw a specific punch. This gives you an educated guess on what they're going to do and allows you to get ahead of this behavior to get the jump on getting off the ropes. Examples of this include opening the guard, like George Benton, using that Philly shell, like Floyd Mayweather, or cross-blocking the far side hand, like I like to do and I like to teach my fighters. To sum this up, when I say you should box, what I mean is you need to understand the sweet science in a way that allows you to control the variables, control your opponent's behavior, and craft a situation that you're likely to get the better of. Jack Dempsey says the most important part of fighting is your ability to hurt your opponent. And at the end of the day, he's correct. All of our footwork and all of these techniques and all of our defenses are just in service to create an opportunity for you to use your punches to harm your opponent. If you don't have the ability to threaten with your power and the ability to hurt your opponent, then you're just playing a game of survival, and you're hoping the judges like the way you survive better than the way they like the way your opponent tries to kill you. In reality, a good boxer is going to use all the tools at their disposal to problem solve. If they're on the ropes, they're going to box when they can, they're going to fight when they need to, and if they need to depend on the ref to get out of the sticky situation, they will. A good boxer is resourceful and adaptable, and hopefully you've learned something today that will allow you to get off the ropes and get back in the fight and get on your path to victory when you fight. And less as scary, and less as, shut the fuck up, and less,